Hey, Nathania, how are you?
Good, Janine. Thanks so much for having me. How are you?
Great. So I know you did this series, Leadership After Loss, which is
hmm
amazing and it's still going on. But now you have a new thing going on, which I think would be very inspiring to people right now who perhaps want to start their own new venture, but don't know where to start and what the skill sets are. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I support people in starting whatever online project, vision, or business they have. So any idea that's been on the back burner to start something from home, but I don't know how to set up an email list. I don't know how to set up a website. I don't know how to, get the word out about what I'm doing. I've structured and created a program that takes people through all of that in 6 weeks. So we go from your idea to having it out into the world and generating an income in 6 weeks. So I'm
That's
really
great.
excited about it, and it's really not that complicated to set up something online, but we get so bogged down by the sheer amount of information that's out there, and not
Right.
having like a point A, point B, point C list to follow makes it really difficult. So I'm trying to like streamline and demystify it as much as possible, because
Yeah.
we all get to create something for ourselves if that's something we want to do.
It's actually a really exciting time, and we had talked about this because sometimes you have had this idea brewing, but you don't really think, oh, I'm not going to ever get to do that. And now might be the perfect time.
Now is the perfect time, because people are looking for things to do with their time. If you're watching this, you might be looking for a new opportunity, but there are people who are employed and who are looking to feel better, who are looking to
Right.
finally take care of themselves, who are looking to learn a new skill. And each and every one of us has something that we're good at. And a lot of
Hmm.
times we don't think that that's something that is valid, or that's something that can really make a difference for somebody else. But we get to really like stop and say, okay, what am I good at? What would I do all day long for free because it brings me joy to help
Yes.
somebody else do? And that is your zone of genius. And
Hmm.
that's what you get to support other people in doing. So now is a good time, as much as it may not seem like it. People are
Yeah.
really reaching out to change something about their life. We're really having time to stop and slow down and look at what's working and what's not working.
Hmm.
And a lot of us are looking to change and to improve on some aspect of our
Right.
life. So if there is something that you've been sitting on, go, yeah, I've been wanting to do that, but first of all, who am I to step out and do this?
Hmm.
Second of all, is anybody going to want what I'm peddling? Uh,
Hmm.
can I do this? The answer is yes, yes, and yes, always yes. And we get to get out of our own way
It's great.
and stop the wheels from turning, because the
Right.
world is huge, and there's more opportunity than we can see. And I'm really seeing it big time right now. As soon as this quarantine started,
Hmm.
I own a yoga studio, and I had to shut down on March 15th
Soul
overnight.
yoga.
SoulPlay Yoga, yeah.
SoulPlay yoga, excuse me. Yeah.
No worries. And so nobody walking in or out of the studio, and I went, uh-oh, like this is bad. This is bad for a brick and mortar business.
Sure.
And so we went online immediately. Within 24 hours, I had my teachers teaching from their living rooms on Zoom to a very, very
Amazing.
grateful community. And from there, we've seen that now we're able to reach people across the world who are practicing with us from
That
Belgium
is
and
beautiful.
from France, who never would have been connected to our community. And so
Hmm.
what I'm trying to say is there is opportunity even when we don't think there is. We get to stop and say, okay, I'm clearly only seeing what's right in front of me. I'm in the throes of my panic. If you step back and maybe reach out to people who have had a different
Yes.
perspective or a different experience, you'll
Hmm.
see that, whoa, actually, there's a ton that can be done even when it feels restrictive. And that's all
Yes.
mindset, and
Yeah.
it's all kind of stepping out of victimhood and into possibility.
Definitely. I was having this conversation with my daughter last night, and she was saying how terrible things are, which they are. And she's supposed to graduate from high school, and she's been really sad. And I said, but let's talk about the positives. She says, there's a lot less air pollution. There's fewer cars on the road. I said, wildlife is being saved. And we went through this whole long list. And she said, people are baking more. I said, that's right. They're spending more time. Yes, there are conflicts because people are home so much, but people are really being very creative and crafty. And I know a lot of people like myself have negative self-talk, But when you believe so strongly in something, like I'm sure you do with what you love to do, you can't help but go for it. You can't help but get up early and run with that idea.
Oh yeah. I love
Yeah.
that. When you wake up in the morning and you're like, "Ooh, I get to do this today and I get to work on
Hmm.
bringing this to life." Yeah. And that's really key, right? Is find something that you're passionate about. If you're
Right.
lukewarm about it, because we're going to run into our own resistance when we launch something new. You're going to run into the things that you actually don't like to do that have to be done in order to get to the next step.
Sure.
And if you're not like just diehard passionate about it, it's really easy. Excuse me. It's really easy to hit one of those blocks and go, yeah, that's too
Sure.
hard. I don't want to do it
And
anymore.
it
And so,
shows.
oh
It
yeah,
shows. Like if I'm telling you, something I created, but I don't believe strongly in it and I'm not passionate, it's going to show. And that's not a good idea for me, you know?
hmm,
Do you mentor people too? Like if they come to you with this idea, do you help them kind of tweak it?
absolutely. That's my favorite thing is to flesh it out and to see like in its biggest possible iteration, what would it look like? You know, what
Hmm.
could you possibly create? And then backtrack from there and say, okay, let's start to piece it together in bite-sized pieces. But I absolutely love to mentor, and especially if someone has an idea and they're not sure if it's viable or not.
Right.
I love to flesh that out. And I think so many of us are sitting on so much potential for real fulfillment in life
Hmm.
and in what we do, but we grew up in a society that rewards a different type of work. Some of us have come from families and a religious background that has told us that there's one way to do things and this is the
Right.
proper way. But when we dare to step out of that and say, you know what, I don't care, I'm going to do this thing that's not like traditionally a business. Let me give you an example. I had a call with a friend the other day who lives in England, and she is a researcher. She teaches at a university and she researches. And she used to love it, but at this point she's burned out and she feels like she's not really having an impact or making a difference.
Okay.
What she loves to do is to forage in the forest for different colored leaves and rocks
Oh,
and to make mandalas. So mandalas are these circular patterns that are
okay.
in the yoga tradition used to gaze at, to meditate on. And
Hmm.
just the act of creating a mandala, it's almost like coloring.
I love
Just
it.
the act of doing it brings you into a meditative state. And I was like, girl, you have a workshop on your hands,
Boom.
right? Why don't you
Yeah.
create a Zoom workshop, Zoom right now? And you all chime in, you do a little
Yes.
like opening circle and then send
Yes.
everybody out to forage and then come back and all make a mandala together.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she was like, bing, and we're working on getting it going. And so she was like, well, my parents would like die if they knew. Oh,
So
who cares? Like,
who cares?
we cannot let those things get in our way. And
Hmm.
as soon as she was like, wait, I can actually charge like $25 to teach someone how to make a mandala. I was like, yes, you
Yes.
can, and you
Yes.
should.
Yes.
And it would be really helpful for someone who's super spazzy and who needs to calm down and who needs something like active but calm to do. You're going to
Hmm.
be offering something to somebody who needs it.
Amazing.
And
Yeah.
so I encourage you to like start thinking in those ways. Like nothing is stupid, nothing is impossible.
Hmm.
If there's any of that going on in your head, that's your story, right? We have a
Right.
story that's underlying everything we do in the world. And the story is sometimes I'm not worthy, I don't know anything, no one's going to listen. That story can be changed. You can
Sure.
rewrite it. So I
That's
have
great
value,
advice.
and I can, so yeah. And that's part of the work that I do too, is look at the
Yeah.
mindset stuff and crush those limiting beliefs and rewrite them into something empowering.
And as far as your background, you have a master's in psychology, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Well, that definitely comes into play when you work with people, for you to really get to their underlying backstory. And, I feel like I know I've let people's opinions and the negative self-talk set in. I had one person tell me, I don't really think that's a book idea. Or, you're playing that guitar song so much, like enough already. And that's practicing, right? So when you let those opinions get in the way, it can really halt you from your growth, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It halts you from your growth. And the thing is that most of the time, the people who have an opinion are not doing the thing.
That's
Those
true.
are the people who are sitting back and judging and
Yes.
going, mm, mm. So it's like, okay, when you are doing what I'm doing, then let's have a collaborative conversation about how to help each other out and maximize our potential together. But until then, you don't get to sit on the couch and point your finger at me and tell me, what you think.
Yeah.
So like grain of salt, but also it is very true that we care about acceptance and validation from the people around us. So that is a thing, but we can't hinge our daring to step out on that, right? Everyone's always going to have an opinion. You just gotta go. And that's where the passion, we circle back to the passion, right? Because if the passion is there, it almost doesn't matter. It's like, okay, naysayer, I'm still passionate about this. Yeah.
And some people say, oh, I'm not creative. I'm not a creative person. I disagree. I think in some way we're all creative, but maybe perhaps you've forgotten how to be creative. And I think now's a perfect time to take out a piece of paper and brainstorm all the things that you've been wanting to do and kind of pick something that really resonates. And that's definitely where you come in, because let's say somebody says, I want to start this business. Like, what's one of the first things they should do in this new venture?
Well, it depends on what the business is, but primarily if you want to start a new venture, what is the first thing you're going to need in order to make a sale in your business is going to be a customer, right? So the first thing to do is to start building an audience and start having people to talk to. So if someone is starting a new business, the thing I say is go on your social media and talk about it to your friends, to your family, to people in your life. And often I used to be like, too, I was like, no, well, those are not my clients. Those are my friends and family. I can't, I need to compartmentalize those things. No, you don't. Some of my best clients are some of my best friends, and it's
good.
just because they know me and trust me. And so there's not even, you don't even have to have a sales conversation. It's like, oh, of course I'm going to hire you to help me with this because I know you're amazing. So talk about it. And after that, it would be to get an online presence up. So the first thing is creating some kind of page. You don't even need a full website. You just need, we call it a landing page. It's a single standalone page where people come and you give them who you are, what you're doing, or what your offer is, and put in it your email address to get more information. Or you can even make like a little freebie. Like, here's a 3-minute meditation on this, or here's the 5 ways to create a mandala out of leaves in the forest, right? Here's 5 steps to do that. Whatever it is that you are putting out there, give a little freebie, put in their email address to get the freebie, and then you start to build your audience.
Great.
And then you have email addresses you can talk to later.
And I jumped on, let me just interject. I jumped on one of your calls and you talked about MailChimp. I mean, some of the things are free. So I did the landing page to try it out. And I was just, working my way through it. But also I have a GoDaddy account and I figured out, also I could kind of tweak and add my own new page to promote my new series and make that a landing page. It's just a learning process. Like if you take the time that you would normally spend like watching Netflix or something else, you can find the time to devote to this passion right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is, like you said, you do need to kind of sit and say, okay, I'm not going to go right into overwhelm. I'm going to stop. I'm going to look at where I can click and look for words that make sense. And I know a lot of people sit down in front of the computer and go, as soon as it's tech related, but the softwares have gotten so good at like walking you through it step by step that, like you said, GoDaddy, MailChimp, MailerLite, there's so many different softwares that are either free or really cheap to allow you to get started with a very small investment. And if you're really just getting started, it's free. Like all you need to buy is your URL, your domain name. And that's $10 a year. So, but,
so what is what are some of the key things that you focus on? You do the landing page.
So the key things that I focus on is getting you fully online. So that means a landing page, getting your email system set up. There's something called a nurture sequence. Like when you get an audience member who opts into your community and who wants to hear from you, you don't want to just get their email address and then leave them be, right? You want to start communicating regularly. So we're going to set up something called a nurture sequence, which is a series of emails that go out automatically after a set number of days that just stays in touch with your customers so you can start to build some relationship. We'll get, then depending on the project, like some people who I'm working with are creating an online summit. Some people want to get their coaching website up. Other people are coming up with the type of workshop that they want to deliver on Zoom. So based on whatever the final product is, we'll work on on doing that, either getting the website up, getting the summit launched, creating the workshop, and then presenting it online. So it's either going to be presenting it through Facebook Lives or presenting it on a website. But it's taking people really from, this is what I want to do, to off you go. You have all the assets you need now to get people to you and to nurture them and to start making
That's
some sales.
great. Mm-hmm. And it's really, if you put the time in, it's really not that hard, you know. And I know you're great about being accessible. People want to send you an email or check in with a question or whatever. It's, after a while, it kind of starts to click, you know.
Yeah, it does start to click. Once you get into the flow, it's super easy. I also have a Facebook group called Embrace the Tech, and I'm constantly answering questions there. People can just join and say, I'm trying to do this and I'm stuck. How do I do it?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll post quick videos to show you how. But yeah, there are plenty of folks out there who are ready to help. I'm always just an email away. And I've been making websites for all of the companies that I've run and set up over the years. And if I had been limited by not knowing how to get the website done, gosh, I feel like I never would have gotten anywhere. So I'm really committed to making this not be the issue. If your mindset is the issue and your limiting beliefs and you don't believe you're good enough, like that stuff, life transforming stuff that I really love to dig in with people. But like the tech can't be the reason why you're not doing the thing, right? That's got to be like the last thing.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think are the attributes of somebody that's going to be successful right now?
Growth mindset is the first thing that comes to mind. So there are two, this is a concept from Carol Dweck, it's been readapted over and over since, but the idea of a fixed mindset is you see the world the way that you see the world, and you believe that the opportunities in front of you are the way they are. And it's pretty much, I know what I know. I might learn a little, but I know what I know, and this is who I am. That's your fixed mindset. Growth mindset is, I don't know what I don't know. I'm willing to learn what I don't know. I choose to see opportunity everywhere. I choose to associate myself with people who see opportunity everywhere so that mindset can rub off on me. And I'm committed to finding a way. And that mindset of adopting possibility, the way of life, is, I think, the single biggest attribute someone can have. If you are in a place of defeat and victimhood and life is happening to me and everything happened to me and stuck in that conversation, this is really difficult. So as soon as you move into, I don't know how, but I'm going to learn. This may seem impossible, but other people have done it, so I know it's possible and I'm going to figure it out. When you step into that space, it's a lot easier to overcome any obstacle that comes your way. It's easier to be resourceful. It's easier to connect with others and to look for support and to accept support.
Sure.
So
that's great.
Yeah,
that's excellent advice. I also feel like, and you know this because of your devotion to yoga, that to be successful, you have to take care of the big picture, your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health. So if you suddenly stopped doing yoga, how would you feel?
I mean, not gonna lie, beginning of the quarantine, I was so just consumed with getting my studio online that I didn't do any of my yoga, and it takes me in a downward spiral of just dis-ease, right? Just feeling ill at ease, feeling stressed, feeling anxious. So absolutely, while you do want to adopt a mindset, a go-getter mindset, don't let everything else fall away. Your self-care is hugely important. As much as you're going to schedule time to get your new venture up and running, you're going to schedule time to sit on the couch or to take a yoga class or to take a bath or to do something that's good for you, for your soul. Because if it's too far in one direction, you'll hit the burnout point, and then we've really accomplished nothing. So thank you for that reminder. Self-care is hugely important.
It is huge. I mean, I see you in some of your videos, you're walking or you're just in nature, you're sitting outside talking to everybody. I know, for instance, I go for a walk every morning because I'm not going to the gym anymore, and it'll be a long time until I go to the gym because I want to be careful. But I know that starting the day on a positive note is really important to me because I also think about the possibility in my day when I'm taking my walks. I think about creativity. I think about just trying to be positive and breathe, because it's so easy to be so tight and tense about what's going on. Like, I don't watch the news, rarely do I watch the news. It's pretty intense, you know?
Yeah, it is intense. And we have to, at a certain point, choose to create a filter for ourselves, how much we're going to let in and
Mm-hmm.
where we're going to divert our attention. You know, whatever you focus on is wherever you put your energy is what grows and grows and grows. And if we're putting our energy on consuming like really depressing, stressful
Right.
information, then that's all we're going to get. So yeah, I love that. Go outside, take in fresh air, or
Yeah.
go, do whatever it is that lights you up, right? For some people, outside is not the
You bet.
favorite thing, but whatever it
Yeah.
is that allows you that space.
I mean, and also this moment in time, this is a rarity. I mean, it's so hard for, the caregivers and the people in the front lines, for people sitting at home saying, ugh, quarantine. Sure, it's hard, but this is the moment of possibility to be creative, to go for something that you never expected you'd have the time to devote. And that's definitely where you come in, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. This is the time. Like, you want to make candles, you've always wanted to make soap, like whatever it is,
Whatever it
seriously,
is.
there is no idea that is not a
Yes.
legitimate idea or can't be massaged into a good idea.
Yes.
Um, and yeah, this is the time to at least recognize that you have an opportunity, and you have an in to create
Mm-hmm.
something for yourself if you want to. And it doesn't have to be the be all end all. It doesn't have to be a complete career change, but
Sure.
it can be something to tide you over. It can be something to inspire you,
Mm-hmm.
to add another layer of what you're doing and what you're offering in the world.
Yes.
And frankly, it inspires the people around you as well.
Right.
And we
And
see
it's
people.
it's funny. I want to add this to what you just said. If you want to make a candle, if you want to do something else creative, I know for me, sometimes I'll be outside doing something, planting something, or creating something in the house, and all of a sudden I get the answer to something that's been nagging at me, or I come up with a new idea. So for people to think, I'm not going to color, or I'm not going to, like when I was little, I was really young, living in New York. I'd be home and I would take a candle and I'd drip it in a big basin of water, and I would connect. Have you ever done this? Connect the
Yeah.
drippings, and you'd make these huge creations of color. And I thought it was the coolest thing. I was like 10. And, but that kind of thing, like your mind just goes somewhere else. It's that flow, you know?
Yep. Yep. It's getting out of the logical thought. And I make bead bracelets. That's my
I like
checkout.
that.
So I just
Yeah.
sit there and string them. And like by bead number 17, I'm like not even here
Right.
anymore. And then yeah, that it really brings clarity.
Yes.
Um, so don't shy away from those things. I love how as adults we forget play, and we forget that it's okay to like even just grab a silly putty and like see what your hands make. Like just
Yes.
the act of allowing yourself to get out of thinking and analyzing and psychological assessment of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just the act of working with your hands in some way really
Right.
really moves you out
No,
of
I
that
love that.
space.
I love that. One activity that we're going to do is, I told my daughter I'd paint the hallway, this one wall in the hallway, like a light blue. And then I said, because she's been taking canvases and she's been doing splash paint. And then she saw this really cool thing where you take a record and you iron it and you make a shelf and you put a plant on it. So it becomes like a 90-degree shelf. And I said, let's do this and let's like paint some stuff in the hallway. And also it's my way of feeling connected and making time, because everybody's so busy. So if you can find those connections with people in your house or whoever, it's really great outlet, you know?
I love that. I love that project that you can do together that we'll be there for the foreseeable future, and you'll always have
Right.
that memory too.
Yeah.
That's super cool. And like, and that's amazing for connecting. And it just brought up another idea. My sister-in-law actually started a cake business out of her house. The same thing. She enjoyed making cupcakes and making cakes with her two boys.
Okay.
And the
That's
cakes
great.
were coming out so amazing that like at all of the birthday parties, the moms were asking her where she got her cakes, and she's saying she made them. Now she has orders every weekend, even during COVID, because these kids are still having birthdays. So she's cranking out cakes to deliver to her neighbors, and these like amazingly cool decorated cakes. And she was sitting here going, I don't have anything to offer the world. I don't know what my value is. And I'm like, girl, now you're charging like $80 a cake. Like, this is, which is not even about the money, because
No, it
she's
isn't.
putting a smile on kids' faces,
Yes.
but like, now she gets to feel valuable, and like she's contributing to her household, and she's doing the same thing she was doing for free.
I love it.
Where
is she? Is she in LA?
Yeah, she's in Irvine, actually. So yeah,
oh, that's where I am.
Oh, cool.
That's so funny.
They're
This
in,
is your
Aliso
sister-in-law?
Viejo. Yeah.
How cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's all possible, you guys. You just have to get out of your own way and think outside the box.
You bet. You bet. Boom.
Exactly why we're here.
So to wrap this up, where can people find out more about you?
My website is nathaniastambouli.com. That is 3 mouthfuls. So I'll spell it real quick. It's
Okay.
NATHANIASTAMBOULI.com. nathaniastambouli.com. And I've got everything I do there. So my coaching program is there. I'm happy to hop on a complimentary call with anybody who's watching this. If you are like sort of chewing on something, but you don't know if it's valid and you want to powwow about it, I'm so happy to do that and see what opens up for you.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.